in tune of what we are feeling or what we've been through or the values that we have or the biases, whether we agree with them or not, we fail to hear what people are really, what it is they want help with. Because oftentimes I want to help you, but I want to tell you what you need rather than ask you what it is you want.
So what you think, listening, hearing them, is central most important idea?
Central.
That's your
Because a
point.
lot of times we're so I'm thinking about trying to answer your question before I hear what your question is. Like my dad used to say, go get something, and before he finished, I was running, and he said, I haven't even told you what to get yet. But because I knew he meant what he said and I need to go and hurry back, I wasn't hearing the end.
Well, the good part is you're hearing us and you've answered the question.
Right. So the next question is, why is reliable and the fidelity of your research data important in defending your paper?
One is because I want to make sure that people understand that I didn't just come up with what I'm talking about off the top of my head, but I actually researched and got answers from people who have spent hours, days, weeks, and months in this same area, talking about the same thing. And also staying true to the subject, because there's such a wide variety of information out there. You can Google anything. But just because you Google it don't mean it's true.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
So reliability and validity
Yes.
is so important when taking in what somebody say. Also being able to really not just read the surface of it, like so many times we had subjects to read, books to read and talk about.
Yes,
You can't just read the preface and the end and not know what's in the middle. You gotta get in there. And there may be something in the very middle that was so important to how you got to the end. So validity and reliability is very important in where you go.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that.
Sorry.
Oh, well, fine. Excellent. My question is, in your dissertation and your writing, and you did an excellent job of giving us how you introduced into and where your experiences that compel you to write and to go from master's degree to doctoral degree. In your dissertation, could you give us just a brief statement about your introduction, 3 main points in your body of your work for your dissertation, and then a conclusion or an exit of what we should receive from, or the results of what we should receive from your writings in your dissertation.
Ooh, that's a lot packed into little.
Yeah, just give me just a basic what the introduction is, 3 main points that we should have received in the body, and then the end results of what you want us to have received from your writing. If I read it, then what conclusion should I have come out that you would hope that we would have come out?
Okay. If I can remember those points. First of all, I started with the introduction of my dissertation on my life history.
Okay.
Where I started, how I grew up, and the dynamics of my family, and reflecting on all of that led me to the remainder of the topics that I would talk about.
Okay.
So as it progressed, the 3 probably main points that, if I remember, if nothing else, from my dissertation and what I would like others to remember as well, and that is that your beginning does not dictate your end.
Right.
No matter what life offers you, I chose to look at it as a lesson learned. And there are no room for excuses. I didn't do this because somebody else didn't do that. And in my spiritual growth, this same thing. I became to know the Lord at an early age, but just because I knew the Lord, and just because I knew how to pray, just because I knew the Bible and could quote scriptures, did not mean that I would not run into challenges. did not mean that I would not have difficulties to face in life. But everything that I encountered, everything that I went through, and everything that I did had a reward at the end because I was committed to it. Same thing with this dissertation. So I went on to talk about pastoring and chaplaincy, which is one of the chapters. And it so helped me understand everything that we are knitted together with, everything that we learn has a purpose. And in doing that, whether you have a title or not, you have the responsibility to mankind to give back what you've received. And that's why the latter part was so interesting and important to me. Talking about pastoral care, talking about chaplaincy, but also learning that whether you're in the secular world or whether you're in the divinity world, clergy, or whatever you want to call it, we all have the calling as to be something to somebody else. I often said in my dissertation, all things work together for the good. But the bottom line is I want to be able to reflect on what will people say about me when I'm no longer here. What kind of legacy will I leave for those who come after me? And in doing that, I went on to talk about church growth and what the church looked like today, so much more than what it looked like from what I grew up with. And being able to embrace those who we used to say are the church of tomorrow, but they're actually the church of today, yesterday, and forever. So knowing the generation X, generation Y, Z, whatever we want to name them, being able to understand and embrace that their time is now. And it's our responsibility to assure that they are prepared to take the reins and lead the kingdom of God where it's going. And do that with honesty, with sincerity, and with joy.